This is a story about a man who steals the thing's body, and it does not end the way it starts. It opens on a wet night in Manhattan, with Ben Grimm walking on his own because he would rather not be seen. A car slows down to offer him a lift, and then decides against it. He says it out loud to nobody, that he will never be human again, and that he will live and die exactly as he is. Then a door opens further down the street, and a man he has never met invites him in out of the rain. Over coffee, the stranger explains that he understands. He is a scientist, and he has spent his life being laughed at for his theories. He says what he really wants is what Reed Richards has: the money, the laboratory, the reputation. Ben tells him he is talking like a soap opera, thanks him for the coffee, and falls asleep in the chair. The coffee was drugged, and this was never a kindness. It took months of planning to get the thing into that room. Behind the door is a machine he has spent a lifetime building, and Ben was chosen because their skeletons are a close enough match. It copies the thing cell for cell and molecule for molecule, and when it stops, the scientist is wearing Ben Grimm's body. Ben wakes up human. The one thing he has wanted for years, handed to him by the man who has just taken everything else. And the plan is not only to have his life, it is to walk into the Baxter Building and destroy the Fantastic Four from the inside. Nobody notices. Sue asks where he has been for days, and he brushes her off. Reed asks him to shift a particle smasher, and he lifts it one-handed without knowing that Ben has done it 100 times before. Then the real Ben Grimm walks in a borrowed shirt with a human face. He tells them what happened. The impostor tells them he is not imitating anyone because he is the genuine article. And then he settles it the only way that counts in that building. He bends a titanium bar with his hands. Reed and Sue believe the man who can do that, and Ben Grimm is thrown out of his own home by his closest friends. What none of them know is that Reed has just finished the most dangerous thing he has ever built. A machine to break the space-time barrier, because Galactus can cross it, the Watcher can cross it, and one day something will come the other way. Sue asks him not to go. He tells her it has to be done, and that he can do it because Ben will be holding the line. The machine is a vast cube built to open a door into subspace. Reed goes in on a cable of super tensile strength, and the man holding the reel came here to kill him. He pushes the lever, and the universe comes apart around him. He describes it as more than human eyes can bear, a four-dimensional universe being seen with three-dimensional sight. And then he arrives somewhere he calls the crossroads of infinity, the junction to everywhere. The trouble is that he cannot steer, and every piece of matter in the place is being pulled towards one point. Subspace matter is negative, and Earth is positive. Anything from here that reaches Earth's atmosphere will detonate. His only way back is the line, so he pulls on it and waits for the tug that means somebody is bringing him home. At the other end, the impostor feels it and understands exactly what he is holding. All he has to do is nothing, and he will have beaten the one man he has envied his entire life. And standing there holding the rope, he finally understands something about himself. That nobody ever cheated him, that he never worked hard enough and never made the sacrifices a Reed Richards makes, and that it was his own fault all along. He says it is almost as though he has really become the thing instead of an imitation of one. He starts hauling, and because he hesitated, the line snaps. So he jumps in after it, into the barrier between dimensions, knowing that whatever is happening to Reed will now happen to him. He finds him. Reed's first reaction is fury, that Ben should never have come after him, and now they are both finished. The impostor apologizes. He says all he wanted was for the line to be pulled in, and that he never wanted this to happen to him. And Reed, who thinks he is talking to his oldest friend, tells him he was the greatest partner a man ever had. Which is when the man who spent years hating Reed Richards decides he is not worth his little finger. So he takes hold of him and throws him back the exact way they came, hard enough to send him home. Then he drifts and talks to nobody and refuses to feel sorry for himself. He says that not many men get a second chance to make up for the rotten things they have done, and that he was luckier than most because he got one. And that he finally learned what it means to have a friend. Then he is gone, and nobody on Earth will ever know his name. Across the city, Ben Grimm is on his way to tell Alicia Masters the truth when his hand turns back to rock. The copy is dead, so the original is the thing again. and he is standing outside her door as a monster instead of a man. He does not knock. Alicia opens the door to an empty hallway and says she had the strangest feeling that somebody she loved was there. At the Baxter Building, Reed comes back through alive, and the first question is where Ben is. Sue blames herself. Reed works out that the man who failed to pull the line in time was never Ben at all. Then the real one walks in, made of rock again, and complains about the crying. And Ben asks what happened to the creep who tried to take his place. Reed tells him not to judge the man too harshly, that at the last minute something of Ben's own heroism reached him out there and touched him. He paid the full price, Reed says, and he paid it like a man.